my God. Thank you for coming back. I'm here. Come on, Karen. I need Karen to come back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I got all messed up. I am so sorry. So I'm connecting us to social media.
Do you want me to share my screen? Want me to share my screen first, or how do you want to do it?
I mean, you can go ahead and set your we're gonna do some introductions and
Okay.
give me 1 second. I'm preparing the connection. Okay, I see me. There we are. Hi.
Hi.
So thank you all for joining us tonight. We're here. You're at Expose the Conversation Live podcast. As you know, Hosanna for Youth is hosting this tonight. We're here with a very special guest with some good information, and it's all about sickle cell awareness. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and we'll go from there. Go ahead. Welcome you all. I hope you're tuning in.
Okay. Um, I
So
need to share.
introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karen Smith, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for Sickle Cell Disease Association of Broward County. And tonight I'm going to talk a little bit with you guys about sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait and how it affects our community.
So hold on. You let me make sure my volume is up and you can hear me. Shayna, are you coming on with us? So Hosanna, yeah, you coming to sit with me? Hosanna don't just talk about incest, molestation, and rape, okay? We're the total package. We want you to be healthy internally and externally. We need the mind, the the inside, as well as your physical being to be total. Hold on, in total agreement with each other. So tonight with the topic of sickle cells, we were having a conversation prior to starting, and I was telling Miss Karen how I've been running all day and things like that, and I told her I love her hair, and she said, but it's hot. She don't want it to get any longer. Ladies, you already know, over 50 and some under 50. Let me not say that. It's some that's under 50 that has to deal with hot flashes. How many of y'all deal with hot flashes? Yeah. So, hold on, hot flashes. I'm turning this down a little bit, and we gonna chat. So hot flashes, she was telling me, because if you have the sickle cell trait, correct?
Yes.
You can't
There's
take.
certain birth control pills you should not take that have estrogen in it because it affects your blood. So my doctor, he had to find a birth control pills for me when I was younger, because I'm good now, that did not have the high level of estrogen. So, and a lot of people don't know that, because when I was young, and it's okay, it's my life, I can tell you, and I was on birth control pills, I would always have like leg cramps and stuff like that. And I didn't find out until me and a couple of girls at the barber shop, at the hair salon, was talking about having the leg cramps and the different type of birth control pills we were on at the time. And then after talking to my GYN, she actually told me, well, when you have sickle cell trait, there's certain birth control pills you shouldn't be on anyhow. And that's when I learned about the estrogen in the birth control pills that could affect your blood.
Wow, 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 wow. So, again, this is Karen. She's, what's your position?
I'm the community outreach coordinator.
Yes, for Sickle Cell Broward, is it?
Sickle Cell Disease Association of Broward. We say
Yes,
Sickle Free Broward to make it short. We're trying to make
Sickle Free. Oh,
Sickle Free Broward. That's our tag name.
okay. Are you on social media?
Yes, Sickle Free Broward.
Okay.
And we have a page for the organization Sickle Cell Disease Association of Broward also.
Okay. So let's go. Let's get into it.
Okay, you want to share my screen?
Yep, you can.
You got to give me permission.
It didn't, hold on.
Mm-mm.
It should allow you, yes, share.
It's still not letting. Okay, now it is, I think. Now.
Okay.
Okay.
Why does it have our Facebook up? Nope. There you go.
Do it one more time.
Okay, something happened. Hold on. Oh, Lord, Karen, I did something.
Unshare and then share.
It's not letting me do anything. It has my, it's got all my stuff up here. Oh, goodness. I don't know what it did. It did something.
You see the share button?
No, it's not letting me undo whatever has happened. It's just letting me move the screen all over. Close, which one? Stop share. Okay, there you go.
Now let me try it one more time. Share. So now unshare. Now share your screen with me again. You got to do it one more time.
Okay, hold on. There you go. You there?
Yes, but it's for some reason. And you know, I don't even think. Okay, start now. Now I'm there. See, it keeps going back. But I don't even think it's you because we were on a webinar last night and they were talking about
Okay.
how Zoom has been acting up.
Okay.
Because it'll come and it'll go.
That's me. Yeah. So
Make
could
me
you?
the host. Make me the host. Can you make me the host and then I can do
Yes.
it?
Okay. I'm making all the participants a host because it's not letting me. It gives you the host and the participants. So
Okay, wait a minute. I think I'm doing it now. Can you see my screen
there you go.
now?
I see your screen now.
Okay.
No, I don't see your screen. Yeah, I see your screen. There you go. See, we're getting it.
Yeah, you know, something is going on with Zoom that it's been doing some stuff. So we'll just take we'll charge it to Zoom, okay?
Okay, that's
So
fine.
my name is Karen Smith, as I said, and I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait. Um, the organization that I represent, it's a 501c3 organization. We were established on December 23rd in 1977. We started doing presentation in Broward County and gradually expanded our service throughout Broward into Henry County. Our mission is to enhance the quality of life of people living with sickle cell disease by addressing their medical, social, psychological, and informational need, and to educate the community and increase community awareness about sickle cell anemia and sickle cell trait. And we also provide information for governmental and legislative relations to encourage research and hope in facilitating a cure for this chronic illness. Some of the community outreach stuff that we do is sickle cell presentations, such as the one I'm doing now. We coordinate blood and bone marrow drive. We do health screenings, home and hospital visitation. We host and participate in local health fairs. We do empowerment seminars and we host monthly support group meetings. Here are some of the pictures of us in the community where North Lauderdale is one of the cities that would put on an annual walk for us. And we have UPS, the one that's in Deerfield. They hold an annual bowl-a-thon for us. So those are some of our activities that we do. Some of the financial support that we do is we provide scholarships for our clients who have sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait. At our last banquet that we held before COVID, we were able to give out $6,000 in scholarships, and we plan on doing the same thing this year right here. The unique thing about our scholarships is our clients are allowed to apply for the scholarship as long as they're in school. Why do you think you need to learn about sickle cell disease? Well, because for one thing, it causes serious health problems. Individuals must learn how to deal with the emotional and physical and emotional up and down of this disease. Couples who need to consider the fact that they could pass on the gene to their children, and loved ones need to know how to care for someone who has a disease such as sickle cell. What exactly is sickle cell anemia? It is a genetic blood disorder that affects the red blood cells that sickles under stress that frequently lead to complications, extreme pain, organ damage, pulmonary complications that may affect your physical and social well-being. It was first Sickle cell was first described in medical literature in 1910, and that's over 100 years ago. Well, people with normal red blood cell, their blood moves very easily through their body because it's soft, smooth, and red. Someone who says they're going through a sickle cell crisis is because their red blood cells has become hard, sticky, and a crescent shape, and it's very hard for it to pass through their blood vessel, and it causes numerous health problems. This is a picture of a blood vessel that's been enlarged. And if you look right here, you can see where the red blood cell is starting to sickle, to change its form from the circle shape. And if you look right here, there is no flow of blood because there is no oxygen flow. And that's where the problem lies right there. The term sickle cell, it refers to a similar hemoglobin disorder. There are many different types of sickle cell anemia, but the most common is sickle cell disease. You have the sickle beta thalassemia, you have the sickle beta zero thalassemia, you have the sickle C, the sickle D, the sickle E, the sickle O. Some form of sickle cell causes fewer health problems than others. But keep in mind that all form of sickle cell disease is marked by the anemia, a low red blood cell count and the crescent shape of the red blood cell. People, when I first came to sickle cell, I struggled with the fact that they mainly focus on sickle cell affecting African American, but if you know, sickle cell is most common in people from ancestors from Africa, South or Central America, Caribbean islands such as India, Saudi Arabia, Mediterranean countries such as Turkey, Greece, and Italy. Well, you know that when you say all of those places, there are many different races. Sickle cell, yes, affect primarily African American, but any race that has blood running through their body could carry the gene and not even know it. Sickle cell disease occur in 1 in every 500 African American births and 1 in every 36,000 Hispanic births. Sickle cell trait occurs in approximately 1 in every 10 African American. 1 in every 10 African American is a lot of people that carry this sickle cell trait and probably don't even know it. An estimated 100,000 people live with sickle cell disease in the US, and a million is affected globally. You might say, well, how do I know? How could I know if I have this disease, sickle cell or sickle cell trait? Well, it's a blood test that you can have done, and it's called a hemoglobin electrophoresis test. What is the difference in between sickle cell trait and sickle cell disease? Well, one, people with sickle cell trait will never get the disease. It is not an illness, but they carry a gene that could affect their children. And that is me. I carry the sickle cell gene, which I could pass on to my kids. A sickle cell trait carrier may be at increased risk for problems with their kidney, blood clots in the lungs, heat stroke, and the damage of the spleen. For example, I was telling you, Angine, when I was taking the birth control pills and having all of the problems, my doctor had to change because of the how the medication was affecting my blood.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference in between sickle cell trait and sickle cell anemia? Well, we all know that gene determines everything about a child's physical makeup, their hair, their skin color, their height, and their build. Well, the gene also affects your hemoglobin too. A hemoglobin is a protein in the red blood cell and it carries oxygen from the lungs to other part of the body. People with regular hemoglobin have received two regular hemoglobin genes, one from each parent. However, a person who inherited one gene for regular hemoglobin and one gene for sickle hemoglobin has sickle cell trait. Two genes for sickle hemoglobin, this person has sickle cell anemia and they also they have sickle cell disease. It's the same thing. There are several possibilities for children who parent or parents who have the sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease. Your kids could be born normal, they could be born with sickle cell trait, or they could be born with sickle cell anemia. We're going to do some fun stuff now. So, when one parent has sickle cell disease, we'll say the red stands for sickle cell disease, okay? And the other one has regular. The blue represents regular, blue. So that means that every time these two people get together, the mother has a pair of genes. She's going to pass on one of these genes. The only gene she has that she can pass on to her kids is the sickle gene. The only gene that the father could pass on in this situation is the normal gene. So every single time these two people get together, all of their kids are going to have sickle cell trait
Wow.
because the mother, huh?
Karen, I wonder if that's a question that people ask when they get into relationships, or, at what point do they ask, those questions?
You know what? They don't ask. It's not a. It's something that we don't even discuss because it's put so far back in our mind. Sometimes it's not a conversation we ask. I remember. I can share with you. I remember when I was going to see one of my clients who had sickle cell disease in the hospital, and I remember her doing shh, because her boyfriend he was there, and I'm like, "What are you shushing me for?" Well, she was shushing me because she didn't want her boyfriend who she was dating to know that she had sickle cell disease.
Wow. And I'm sitting here, I'm having like a little private laughter inside because I'm like, why did I ask that question when half of us don't even wear condoms
Oh,
when we're having sex? Let's know to think about having a conversation prior to having sex about, do you have the sickle cell
do you have the
sickle cell
gene? And do
disease?
you carry the gene, or do you
Right,
carry the
right.
gene? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. But I'm like, she didn't want him to know, and I didn't tell him. I mean, because if I'm at this point, if this person really care about you and he doesn't realize that you're in the hospital all the time and he has no idea why, well, there's something maybe wrong with him because I would be questioning somebody to find out why is she always in the hospital. But it's her story to tell.
Right.
So if you have one parent that has sickle cell trait, you see the blue and the red, that means the blue is the normal gene and the red is the sickle gene, and the other parent that has the blue gene. But this right here, I would say this is an okay couple to have because the mother doesn't have anything, the father has the trait. So what that means is every time they come together, if the father passes on the normal gene and the mother passes on the normal gene, their kids are going to be unaffected. Now, if the
Okay.
father passes on the trait, their kids are going to have sickle cell trait. None of their kids are going to be born with sickle cell disease. It's either normal or sickle cell trait. That's okay.
Okay.
But when one parent has sickle cell disease and the other one has sickle cell trait, there is a 50% chance that the baby could be born with sickle cell trait, or it's a 50% chance that the baby could be born with sickle cell disease. So that means every time these two people come together, their kids are either going to be born with the trait or the
Wow.
disease. So I tell my family, if there's ever a yes that your child could be born with sickle cell disease, I would highly recommend that you go get genetic counseling. You also speak to someone who has a child that has sickle cell, and you know what? Go on Facebook, because Facebook got a lot of conversations going on between people with kids that have sickle cell disease, so you can, you know, get a glimpse of what your life might be like having a child with sickle cell disease. That's what I
Right.
tell them.
And
Yeah.
and that's something that later on in the conversation I would like for you to expound on, because I don't think we are as educated as needed to be to know signs. How you know how would we know if, I know you get tested and you find out, but is
The
what
test, it's the test, and it's your truth. You
okay.
have to be truthful, and you have to have an adult conversation with the person you're dealing with, that hey, I have sickle cell disease. If I have sickle cell disease, then me being me, you're going to have to be tested, and I need to know your status. I can't, and I need to go, and I need to have my doctor read your test results for me. I don't want you to interpret.
That's big. That's big. I
That's
like that.
that is big. I need to have my doctor read your report for me so I can know what I'm dealing with. And it's just so, because you know what? It's like you fall in love and you ask these questions later.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. You throwing rocks. You throwing rocks. But I got it. Yes. Yes.
So this now I'm gonna give you a kicker. This is me and my husband. We both have sickle cell trait, but we in
Mhm.
our 50s, so we're not having no kids. But if we were to get together and have kids, the question would we would say, could any of our kids be born with sickle cell trait? The answer is yes.
Mhm.
And because it's a yes, what we would do as a couple is we would go and we would do in vitro.
Oh, okay. Now,
Because,
is this a test that every person should ask a doctor to test them for?
well, believe it or not, any child born after 1989 was tested if they were born in the United States. Now, the kicker is having the test and understanding what the test means. For example, when I was born, I always knew I had sickle cell trait, always. And I would tell my doctor, I have sickle cell trait, and then I was always anemic. I had low blood. And those are the two things I always knew to tell my doctor. But no one never told me that if I got with someone that I needed to make sure that they didn't have sickle cell trait. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't until I had my kids and they were older that I realized that my kids could have been born with sickle cell disease had their father carried a gene.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
remember when I was pregnant with my kids, the doctors would always be like running around frantic because I had sickle cell trait. But still, no one had a conversation with me about what it meant to have sickle cell trait. It was not really until I became a part of this organization that I started learning and understanding what did it mean to have sickle cell trait, about the gene and how I could pass it on to my kids, which I did. My daughter is AA, she's normal, but my son has sickle cell trait, and his son has sickle cell trait. So,
Mm.
and girl, when I found out my son had sickle cell trait and he was 13 years old, every girl that came through the house, I would like say, "Oh, you like my son? Well, he has sickle cell trait. Now you go back home and you have a conversation with your mom and your family to find out if you got that gene. If you got that gene, you baby, you pretty, but you can't come to my husband. Listen, you can't. My son, I can't have no grand. I'm just saying, I was the patrol for him. I'm still a patrol right now today because it's I take it just that serious.
Yes. Yes.
So look at this. When both parents have sickle cell disease, that means that all of their children are going to have sickle cell disease. And you would say, Karen, that situation cannot exist. Well, it does exist. It is this exists right here at Pompano Beach. This is a sad case because this is a lot of in and out of the hospital. When one person get well, the other
Wow.
one's sick. It's like it's a very sad case. Very sad case.
Wow.
Signs and symptoms of sickle cell varies between individual. Infection is very common amongst people. And what happened is we all have an organ in our body that's called a spleen. And this spleen is the organ that helps the body kill germs. But what happened is a lot of times the babies at a very young age, their spleen become infected and enlarged, and they have to have it removed. So the organ that's used to help you kill germ has been removed. That's a lot, and they suffer with a lot of infection. And then another thing is, did you know that every 120 days that you get a new fresh set of blood, red blood cells?
No.
That's why every time you go to the doctor, every so many months, the doctor have to do new blood work on you. Our body get a new set of red blood cells every 120 days. But somebody with sickle cell, their blood changes every 10 to 12 days. So their new red blood cells is moving so fast, so sometimes they can't replace the old one, and that's why when the oxygen level get low and they go into that pain crisis, lack of oxygen over many years leads to tissue and organ damage to the different parts of the body. Another thing is when we have clients that become pregnant, we tell them we recommend that they get a high risk doctor to monitor their pregnancy. Yes, if you have sickle cell, you can have a healthy baby, but do know that there could be some risks involved for the mother and the child. They should be closely monitored. Babies, when born, they're irritable and they're fussy. And another thing that happens to babies, and this is with the younger kids, they get what is known as the hand to foot syndrome. You see how swollen this little baby feet
Yes.
is in his hand, and that because of the clog of the blood vessel in the hand or feet, and it happens a lot. Like I say, in a lot of smaller kids. People with sickle cell sometimes get leg ulcer, and this right here comes from the poor circulation and sometimes difficult to heal. And when it's difficult, when it does not heal, sometimes they have to have amputations done. Jaundice, if you ever see somebody with eyes that look yellow like that, you need to tell them that they need to seek medical attention immediately because there's something definitely going on wrong with their blood. There's also other problems that people have. You have like the pain. I
That's
say
what I hear
pain
a lot.
so easy. I say it like it's nothing, but it is a big deal. This right here, I I've had a baby, but they describe this as 3 times, 4 times as worse as being in labor. Or they describe it as someone taking a glass, a knife, and just cutting them with a glass, just cutting their skin and won't stop.
That's what I
Painful.
heard.
Yeah, it's very painful. Then sometimes they get a lot of ongoing respiratory problems. There are at risk of stroke. So, in a lot of times, to prevent them from having strokes, the doctor would put them on chronic blood transfusion. Kidney failure. A lot of our clients are on dialysis. Um, Prolonged erection in men, and they have to go to the hospital to get that taken care of, and that's very painful. We have a lot of clients that have to have their hip replacement because of the damage of their bones. There are problems with their eyesight because the blood vessels become damaged, and an increased risk of depression, anxiety, um, and believe it or not, a lot of people, and it's the truth, when they're in pain, I've had seen it firsthand. They feel like the pain is so bad that they just don't want to live anymore.
Wow.
Other
Wow.
problems associated with sickle cell include severe fatigue and tiredness. It's a delay noted in children and adults in their growth, gallstone, blood in the urine, and pneumonia.
Wow.
Well, as I said earlier, all newborns are tested. And so what happens is if your baby tests positive for um, sickle cell disease, they do what's known as a confirmed test to make sure that baby does have sickle cell disease. And if they do have sickle cell disease, some of them they start on medication right away to fight and to prevent infections that's caused by sickle cell. And then a lot of times the entire family could benefit from this newborn screening. You would be so shocked of how many families actually learn about sickle cell being in their family through a baby being born.
Wow.
I remember I had a grandmama. She says, "Well, you know what? Sickle cell is not in my family." I said, "Listen, I'm a firm believer. If you are African American and you have over 10 people in your family, someone carried that gene in your family." And she came to me months later and said, "Guess what, Karen?" I said, "Yes, yes, ma'am." She said, "My grandbaby was just born with sickle cell."
Mm. Well, I'm going to say this, Karen. Y'all heard Karen how she greeted her grandmother. She said, "Yes, ma'am." I had to point that out. Manners matter.
You know, I love my seniors now. They're my favorite set of people.
Yes. So, Karen, so you say if 10 people, in a family, someone is going to be born
I
into the
believe
family.
because okay, the statistic says that 1 in every 12 is affected with sickle cell trait. One, let's say every 10 to 12. So imagine that's a lot of people of African American race that have the gene that don't even know it.
Right,
And
right.
if you some people don't even remember. Like I cannot remember ever getting a test notifying me that my son had sickle cell trait. And it wasn't until we were at an event and I had him tested. And at 12 years old, that's when I found out about him having sickle cell trait because I could not remember. And it was I was like, yeah, go get screened because I don't know. And that's when I learned about my my son having the trait because I don't remember. And then what happens, Angie, is if your child has sickle cell disease, get this, if the child is born with sickle cell disease, we only tell the mother.
What?
We never you never tell the father.
What?
Come on now.
Why?
Well, if that lady gave birth to that baby, we know that's her baby.
Girl, you better stop. You better stop.
Think
So
about it
back
now.
to what is it called? Mother's babies, daddy's maybe.
And the men they get upset, but I'm like, go deal with your governor to get the laws changed. But that
Wow.
you never tell the father, you always tell the mother.
What?
And
What?
and not only that, and even think about people who are adopted now, and you have sickle cell and you don't even know you're adopted,
Mm-hmm.
and you have sickle cell and nobody in your family have sickle cell. Your mom don't have sickle cell and your dad don't have sickle cell, and they're looking at you telling you that can't be, something is wrong.
Wow.
We need to have an adult conversation.
Yes. Yes.
It's it's in the
Politely.
genetics, it's in the
Adult.
genes.
Okay.
So it's deep. Um, I'm not going to go too deep about the medication because there are medications for people that have sickle cell. If a baby has a fever of 101 temperature, we recommend that they go to the emergency room. We recommend that the parents go through genetic counseling so they can know how to, deal with their babies, the temperature to make sure the spleen is not swollen, that they don't have proper, that they are breathing properly. And all babies need proper nutrition, regular checkup, and the immunization shots. There are medications for sickle cell. There are medication. I remember when I first started with this organization, they had one,
One.
one. In the last 5 years, I think we may have two or three, but one medication that was made to deal with sickle cell. Not now. They have a lot of pain meds, narcotics, but one medicine that was designed to help people when they were going through sickle cell crisis.
Wow.
Another treatment that they use with people is the bone marrow transplant. And I just got some good news from one of our sickle cell clients who went through the bone marrow transplant, and she is now 100 days later doing very well with it. So we're happy about that. Other treatment include IV therapy to prevent dehydration, oxygen therapy, and blood transfusion. But
Mm.
the bad thing about blood transfusion, and this is with anybody, if you've received 10 or more blood transfusion in your lifetime, you really need to be checked for iron overload because believe it or not, our body has no natural way of getting rid of extra iron that's in our body. So what has to happen is you have to be put on medication. And if you're not treated for iron overload, the toxin that builds up from the iron overload can start destroying your organs like your heart and your liver. And it can actually kill you, believe it or not.
Wow.
Frequently asked questions: do the sickle cell people with sickle cell trait have health problems? We talked about that earlier. Yes. Believe it or not, high altitude can cause problems for you, and low oxygen level with sickle cell trait can cause problems for you. And what I want y'all to do is go do your research. There has been over 18 football players that have collapsed and died on the field from overexertion and dehydration from sickle cell trait.
Wow.
That's why there's a law that's put in place that every kid that's participating in any type of physical sports, even band, have to be tested. They have to have a physical done. And if
So the
go ahead.
physical, the physical, you mean they need blood work as well, or just the?
Yeah, because the physical is looking to tell the coach whether they have sickle cell trait or not. And if they have sickle cell trait or not, the coach has to take that into consideration. They have to make sure that they get proper breaks, water breaks, and they cannot make them just run until
Mhm.
it collapse. If they're not feeling well, they cannot push them. There's been lawsuits that has been filed because of these football players that have collapsed and died on the field from overexertion and dehydration. That's what sickle cell trait. We call sickle cell trait the silent killer.
I don't recall, like, I'm thinking, when with my kids and they go get a physical, did they draw blood or they just check you like that and then sign that paper?
If they were
They don't
particip-
draw blood. They don't
if
draw.
he's in high school or going to college, they will draw blood. They have to have it done.
Well, I'm saying like for the youth, for the little ones that's.
It's something that a parent has to do, and that's why it's like. But let me tell you something, because we're talking adult talking. Let me tell you what the breakdown is. So you have this child that you want to be a pro football player, basketball player.
Mhm.
Do you really want to know that he got sickle cell trait where he can't be pushed to his potential?
Girl.
Come on. I went through that with a family member because I'm like, listen, we all of my sisters have sickle cell trait. Y'all, my sisters, y'all need to know if y'all kids got the gene, the carry the gene or not. And I battle with my sister. She gonna kill me because I'm putting her on blast. But I battle with her because my nephew, he was good at sports, but it's like she was so afraid. I'm laughing at her now. She was so afraid to ask the doctor if their son had sickle cell trait because she didn't want him to miss his career being a professional, whatever. I'm like, girl, go sit down somewhere. You need to find out.
Find out.
Find out. Yes.
Oh wow.
It says years ago I was tested and told I did not have sickle cell trait. Should I be tested again? Yes, you should, because unfortunately back then those tests were not as accurate as the test is today. So if you're not sure
Okay.
and you want to know, you should ask your doctor to do the test for you. You again, like for example, I went to the doctor because when I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I don't know my blood test. She was already taking blood for me. I said, can you let me know what my blood type is? How many of you us know our blood type?
Girl, no, I need to find out. You know your blood type? My cousin, she can tell you what her blood type is, what just all what it means and all that stuff like that. And I'm like, oh wow. And I meant to ask. Yeah, I need to find out.
Girl, let me tell you something. At, from becoming a part of this organization, not only do I want to know my blood, I wanted to know my blood test. Now,
I'm taking notes.
when I go to the doctor, I said I need a copy of my report. Then I sit down and I read my report. and see what's in it. Check my levels and to try to get a better understanding of what's going on with me. Um, should people with sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease avoid having children? Well, there is no right or wrong answer for nobody. It's a decision that a couple needs to make by considering the facts. And it was so interesting today. I heard, I'm on Facebook all the time, and I was just reading how, and I follow a lot of people with sickle cell, and how this girl was saying that she has sickle cell, and she was liking somebody who had sickle cell trait. And so she put the question on Facebook, should I, get with this person because I want to have kids? And of course, if you tell them no, then everybody else, you
That
you you
means yes.
you're being attacked. But you put this question out there, and I'm like, listen, this is a conversation between you and him, but more so, this is what I leave with you. Remember now, when your child is born with sickle cell, it's not you that's going through the pain unless you have sickle cell yourself, so you can understand. It's that child.
Mhm.
So you have to deal with this child that's going to one day tell you that, mommy, you and daddy passed on this gene to me, and this is how I got sickle cell.
Mhm.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
Hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
So I hope that you guys will come with me to help me break the sickle cycle and help find a cure to this disease. That's my sickle cell family right there. Aren't they beautiful? I love
Yes.
them. That was at our banquet. So we have health providers such as Broward Health, Holy Cross Hospital, Memorial Regional Hospital, Jackson Hospital. We have our state health department, and Sickle Cell Disease Association of Broward County also have a support group meeting that we have. So I invite you to join the fight to help break the sickle cycle. And if you want more information, you can always reach me at 954-524-4920 or www.sicklefreebroward.org. And we are on Facebook, Sickle Free Broward. And we do a webinar monthly, like I think the third Tuesday of every month we do a webinar. So hopefully you can come and join us there. And maybe we can have you on our webinar one night talking to us. Is there any questions, comments?
Yes, I have a question, Karen.
Okay.
I've heard, and I'm not sure how accurate this is or anything, but when persons who have the sickle cell disease, is there a lifespan expectancy or something like?
Years ago, they would tell people that they wouldn't live to be a certain age,
Mhm.
which was the worst thing a doctor could do because that stayed in their mind forever and ever and ever. I know someone who's 64 years old who is living with sickle cell. To me, what I can tell you, I see firsthand the clients that have, how can I say it, a good support system
Mhm.
tend to
Mhm.
have a better quality of life, if
Okay.
that makes sense to you. Like I have some clients who still stay at home with their parents as adults, but they tend to do better for some reason. And the
Okay.
ones who are not taking a lot of pain meds tend to do better. Um, Last year, I went through a period where in my life where I injured my back. I didn't know how I injured my back at first, and then I remembered I actually went to Walmart and lifted one of those 40 cases of water. Yes, I did. Shiro, I was a Shiro. And it wasn't a pain that hit me like bam that day, but it hit me gradually. I was out literally on my back for months. But
Wow.
what happened is, and it was a lesson for me. When I went to the doctor, they tried to put me on oxy. And I said to him, listen, I don't want to take this because I see what it does to my clients who take this medicine. it's a level of addiction. I'm just gonna be real with you.
Yeah, yeah, keep it 100,
So
yes.
when I said to him, I said, listen, I took it once and I said, it's not working. So he said, take it with something else. And my husband said, why aren't you taking it? I said, because it's not working. So what I learned is when you have pain, pain med is a band-aid. It's not working on your pain, it's working on your mind.
Mental, right?
Mm,
It
I
alters your
totally agree.
mind. It
It's a
alters
mind
your
thing.
mind.
It is.
It alters your mind. It's not doing anything for that pain. I had to go through physical therapy. That helped. And I went to a holistic doctor and he gave me some holistic stuff to do to regenerate my muscles, to help me strengthen myself. And that's what I did. And that's what worked for me. And when I tell you, when my clients say that they wake up and go to bed in pain, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing ever. But when my back went out, wake up, go to bed. If you move to the right, to the left, there's pain. But what I did not do is I did not continue to take the pain meds. And in my client's defense, you got to keep in mind, pain meds is something that they have been on from probably as small as a baby.
Right, right.
Oxy, morphine, dilaudid. And now when they come to an age where that's all they know, and you're trying to get them off of it, just to wean somebody off of medication, that's pain.
mhm.
It's deep. So the
Right.
life
So,
expand
mm,
comes from what type of life are you living? How are you living? Are you chronically taking pain meds or are you not? Are you using alternatives to deal with your pain? Our body is not equipped to take pain meds every day. It's going to destroy your heart.
so I have another question. So have you saw like with within your organizations, the persons that you've come in contact during this time span, have you saw any, like, do you all connect those that have gotten addicted to? Like, do you have like is it like an increase?
So what you do is, well, my approach is I have a gentle conversation with them.
Mhm.
It has to be a gentle conversation because it's something that someone has to come to term with themselves.
Yes,
And you
yes.
you have to come to term that you know what. And I had someone said, Miss Karen, you're absolutely right. But you got to understand, like I say, this has been something that's been going on with them from
Birth.
child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not easy for them to get away from this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad. And I get so because I sometimes I tell my friends, my close friends, I said, listen, this person is on a ride.
Mm.
And if they don't come off,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to end well. It's just that deep. It's
Yeah,
not going to end well. It's a cycle, it's a path that
yeah.
you already know what the end results is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And do you encounter a lot of the youth that come to your organization, like struggling with their esteem of this whole thing, like it's taken away, they don't feel like they probably want to, they'll say something like, I want to be normal, why did I have to have this? Do you go through that esteem issue with them?
Yes.
Wow.
And you know what? It's kind of like, and that's why we do what we do with our scholarship. We allow them to apply for that scholarship until they can finish to get their degree. And we don't only give scholarships to people who are going to college. You can be going to trade school. You can want to be a cosmetologist. You can want to be a nail tech because we want to empower them.
Yes, 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 yes. So, tell us what is the requirements to for someone that's listening that has someone in their family that has sickle cell. Is it? Let me. How do they obtain the application? When do it come out for the scholarship? How do they apply?
Normally we do our scholarship in September, but September, which would have been last year, but because of COVID, we didn't have our event. So we were slotted to give the scholarship out in March, but I think it's going to be pushed back. So what it is, it's just a simple application that they have. They get signed, they get filled up. But one of the stuff that we are now requiring them that because we're doing stuff virtually, they have to attend 2 of our webinar session online.
Okay.
That's giving back like 30 minutes of their time listening to a webinar like we're doing now. Because
Okay.
when I deal with my sickle cell family, I listen to what they're saying, and I tell you this: they don't want to talk about sickle cell.
Mhm.
They don't, and it's okay because they're living through it. So we try to bring different programs to them. Like we last time we did a webinar, it was less legacy planning.
Mhm.
How
Okay.
like how do you plan your legacy? How do you plan for your future? How do you get health insurance with a chronic illness? You know what I'm saying? So we
Mhm.
try to bring different topics up now because COVID, and trying to persuade them a little bit about the vaccine. Our next speaker is going to talk about the importance of the vaccine with people who have a chronic illness such as sickle cell, and then he's a gynecologist, and he's also going to talk about well care because believe it or not, people with sickle cell tend to believe that they only need one doctor, which is their hematologist, and
Wow.
a lot of them, I come to find out, some of them don't even go get their annually checkups. You
Wow.
need to go to the dentist annually. You need to go to, if you're a woman, you need to go to your gynecologist. If you need a man, you need to go get your prostate checked. I mean, you need to get your ears, your eyes, because when you go through a sickle cell crisis, remember, your blood is not flowing through your body properly. So it's affecting every organ in your body. So
Okay.
you need to do a head to toe examination, and your hematologist can be your one stop shop.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now,
Angie looking at me like she's like looking at me like this is a lot.
no, I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm sure Cirilla is as well. I can't hear you. You on mute because
I'm enjoying it. The message is spot on. I can attest to the mortality and the morbidity of persons with sickle cell in that I used to work in an emergency department, and I was also
Wow.
on the readmission board. And so, when patients are readmitted within 30 or 60 or 90 days, contingent on whatever type of health insurance they have, it costs the hospital money, which impact the healthcare burden, right? So, and she's right, whereas that with most diseases, you're going to see some type of disparity in areas of poverty. And we all know that our race overlaps with poverty and illiteracy. So I think a lot of this messaging is necessary. There should be more sickle cell awareness campaigns, just as there are for heart disease and breast cancer and things like that. And happy Women's Month, everybody.
Yeah.
They gave us the 8th, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the whole month, gotta keep it rolling. But this messaging was very powerful. I really enjoyed it. It was good revisiting the topic. It was spot on. She did great. I'm a fan. I'm like,
Thank
we
you.
need some more of this. She needs to go talking everybody on everybody's platform everywhere because again, if you don't bring the message into the people, then possibility that they won't get it. So you have to meet people where they are. So if they're on social media, just their emails or whatever, the days of handing out pamphlets and community outreach, like outdoors, those are a little gone now. So we have to, continue to struggle and figure out ways to reach our population.
Yes.
So
thank
thank
you.
you, Angie. This was
You,
very good.
thank you. Now, I wanted to know, does a sickle cell, is it a high rate of sickle cell for more so women, or is it, fair with men as well, Karen?
It's fair with men. You know what? It was. I remember someone told me that a man couldn't get sickle cell. I'm like, where did y'all get this stuff from? It's a gene. It doesn't have. I mean, to do with with whether you're a male or a female. It affects across the board. I haven't seen it where it affects more than the other.
Mhm.
probably never
Mhm.
looked that deep because I just know that it's in our DNA, so it's past just it passes.
And
So
Karen also, oh, sorry,
go
Angeline.
ahead, you good.
And Karen, also, you're right, where there's a high dependence on substances for persons with sickle cell. When working in treatment centers, there would be probably about 30% of the persons there, you know, they also had sickle cell, and that's where we would come in at because they needed special treatments. But it also, I don't know, like, what do you tell somebody? You're not in pain. You don't need that, you
Mhm.
know? Um, and then you have to
Eh,
think about, kidneys, and liver, like all types of things, and they end up just health wreck. So I think awareness is the message here. Yeah, I'm
You know,
definitely
we're
gonna try to so Karen, are the slides on the website or these are your personal slides?
those are my personal slides. I
Okay.
have a book that I can send to. I'll send you some of the red books. The red book that talks about sickle cell.
She's in
Mhm.
another state, Karen.
Oh no,
Well,
I'll
I was
send it to
gonna
you.
add, so
I'll send it to you. I can send it to you, but it's a book that says it talks about sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait. I just um did this slide to cater to my audience of people because just giving them something that they can appeal to, appreciate, and not be bored with it. Because let me tell you something, when I tell someone, is it possible for me to do a sickle cell presentation to you, they look at me like, what, how much time it's going to take? I said, listen, just give me 30 minutes, an hour of your time. I promise I won't be bored. So I
well,
had
I'll
to,
take the book. Yes, I'll take
okay,
any
I'll
book.
send you
I
the
love
book.
books, but I also have a health and wellness forum. And what I do is I show a slideshow prior to and a slideshow at the end and allow people to stay after if they want to view the information. So I
Okay,
definitely want to bring some awareness to sickle cell. So like if you had 3 slides with your name on them and
okay,
whatever you want to put on them, I'll be more than happy to add that. And if you have personal information where if persons wanted to get in contact with you
okay.
to do like a Zoom in, the same messaging you did today, I'll be more than happy to pass that along as well.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's awesome. So you all share your information in the chat so you can stay in touch. So
Okay.
you
Okay.
might even, Cirilla, have her as a guest to speak on your platform
I
too.
would love to. I would love to. We're gonna once we conclude the series 1, we're gonna have a webinar, and so it's there where I will have those persons allot the whole 45 minutes at least to that topic. So yes, definitely.
Perfect, perfect,
Yep.
perfect. So, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I don't know if I was ever tested for, sickle cell. I don't know.
Well, let me
Um,
tell you, you were tested. I'm gonna tell you why.
why?
Because women, this is the kicker now. Women, every time we have it our kids, when we pregnant, we go see our doctor, and they do all of those tests, those tests on us. What's supposed to happen if you have the trait? They supposed to tell you that you have
Uh,
sickle cell trait, and that you should bring your partner in, and they should be
Woo, child,
tested.
don't say that. Don't say that.
Ah, your people's in. Your pe-
Child, don't say that. Don't say that. Woo.
She's saying something.
Girl, yeah, go ahead. I'm just being funny. But woo, child.
I
Back
thought she
then
was
it
saying
was something.
something.
Huh?
I thought she was saying something, the doctor.
Oh, Cirilla, did you say anything? She
And I'm no one's doctor here. I'm an old outreach worker. That's what I am. But
Okay.
I'm a MPH, and yes, all information is good information. We just have to, be creative and figure out how to get it to the people. So definitely, I just share my information, and I have yours, and you can definitely expect to hear from me.
Okay, let me write this down because once you click off of this, it goes totally away.
over on if you open the chat and you look to the right, you see 3 dots. If you hit
Hmm.
those 3 dots, it'll save the chat on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
You just taught me something. Okay. I just learned something because I sure didn't know that. I'm still writing it down anyhow, in case I can't find it. I'm just old fashioned. I'm sorry.
And I'm so bad. I be on other people um, Zoom meetings, and I'm like, let me click record, and then it say you have to ask the host to record. I'm like, shoot, just because you want to go back and hear and sometimes touch base with it, but
Right.
you can't
All
get
right,
it.
ladies. Okay, I'm gonna go to Bible study.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be safe.
All
Bye.
right, bye-bye.
So, being that we've talked about sickle cells, please tell the people how they can reach you if they have any questions, if they need to, they just want to talk because they might be like myself thinking that they didn't get tested. And in reality, if you're a mom during your pregnancy, when you gave birth, they test you because they want to
Yeah.
make sure that baby is okay.
Yep.
And this is good information. I know this is hard for everyone to kind of digest because we don't ask questions before we jump in the bed. Now, I know it's somebody on here that is saying, Angie, that is not right. I asked. Well, no, I ain't gonna say lies.
That's a lot.
They might have the conversation. I can't say, I'm not here to go back and forth with whether you ask or not, or what type of conversation you have before you get engaged in entanglement. Yeah, that's the word.
Ooh, entanglement. You use that word.
So I'm always transparent. No, I did not ask. Okay. I'm gonna just say that because people be like, well, she be talking about this. Well, what about herself? I'm always transparent. There we
Right.
are. So that's why I'm speaking from this position because I know I'm not alone and I'm able to raise my hand. So with that, it's okay. Miss Karen is available. She will speak with you. She will make you understand the situation. If you do have sickle cell traits, she will make you understand the situation if you have sickle cell disease. Please take down her information so that you can connect with her. And if you have an organization and you want this information on your platform, reach out to her, invite her to come speak. Or she'll come to your church and talk to your group too.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll come wherever you allow her to come. So, Miss Karen, give them your information.
Okay, my telephone number is 954-524-4920. 954-524-4920. We have a website, www.sicklefreebroward.org, or you can follow me on Facebook, Sickle Free Broward.
There you have it. It's no reason for you not to know because the information is there. And
Yes.
if you don't get in touch with Miss Karen, you can always pick up the phone and call Ann Jean and say, hey, the young lady that spoke about sickle cell, I'm trying to reach her. Call Hosanna for Youth, 954-300-1370. 954-300-1370. Connect with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Hosanna, 4 Youth. We're here. And you all know how to reach me other than that. I'm here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. All you have to do is tune in and click the message box and talk to us. We'll be sure to include you on anything we have going on. And as of now, everyone be safe. Karen, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, you know what? First of all, I want to commend you on the great job that you're doing with your organization because I remember when you first started from humble beginning to where you're at now. So I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. And if there's anything that Sickle Cell Disease Association of Broward County can do, come out to your events. I missed the event in the park, that beautiful event, the survivor walk, the scroll. I missed that.
Well, we're not doing it this year because of COVID,
Right.
but we are hosting a virtual survivor stroll, honey.
Okay, so
And
send
it's
me
going
an
to be
invite.
March 20th. And I
Okay.
will make sure to send you an invite. We having the flyers prepared and everything. March 20th, we're going to do Survivor Stroke virtually, and
Okay.
it should be quite nice. I think you all will enjoy it.
Thank you so much. You always do a good job at with your programs.
Thank you so much. That make my heart smile. Yes. Again, you know, we love Sickle Cells of Broward.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, and continue to do what you do, sister. Continue.
Thank you.
All right, and you glowing. You are glowing.
You're back.
So, all right, girl, you have a good night and be safe.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And